Thank you very much. As everyone mentioned, I'd like to also thank the organizing committee for bringing us here together. And this afternoon, I will be presenting the impact of family abuse on student suicidal ideation, evidence from South Korea, which is a study with my supervisors, Duvon Kwok and Kim Ki-tae. I'll first talk about the aim and the contribution of the study, and then I'll move on to the data, method, and conclude with the results. So adolescent mental health is very important for their social and mental development. And yet, according to World Health Organization, suicide is the fourth cause of death among the adolescents between 15 to 19 years old. So it's crucial to understand what triggers adolescent mental disorders. And with that, in this study, we aim to estimate the impact of parental abuse on adolescent suicidal ideation, controlling for other potential determinants, as family abuse is one of the strong predictors of suicidal ideation or suicide. Here we aim to consider multiple time periods and variation in the year of abuse, and also consider the impact of parent-to-student abuse in the occurring year and in the later years. There are various studies on adolescent mental health, varying from school achievement to victimization. These studies try to elucidate the relationship between adolescent mental health and the potential reasons for mental disorders. But when it comes especially to family structure and parenting attitudes, these studies fall short on establishing if these relationships are causal or account for unobservable heterogeneity, which may lead to biased results. Therefore, the contribution of this study is through exploiting the individual level variation in parent-to-child abuse over time, while accounting for unobserved individual specific time invariant heterogeneity. And the second one especially is through using a quasi-experimental method, the event study method, to allow treatment assignment to have a sufficient element of randomness by creating treatment and control group as close to each other as possible. And in this case, the treatment group will be the students who are abused by their parents. In this way, we attempt to remove the biases in post-period comparisons between the two groups, the treatment and the control group, or trends of other determinants of suicidal ideation. We also allow for dynamic lags and leaks to the event of interest, which means that we not only estimate the impact at the time of the abuse occurs, but also on the following years. And we consider the interplay between various factors, abuse over multiple years, consecutive years, or over income. So for this study, we use Korean Youth Panel Survey, which is a longitudinal data covering two cohorts, one starting from fourth year of elementary school and the other second year of junior high school for over 5 to 6 years. The survey is done both to students and with their parents or guardians. So our panel data set covers around 28,000 students. And the outcome variable is the suicidal ideation, which is a binary indicator if students states that they had extreme thoughts of suicide for apparent no reason. And our coefficient of interest will be parent-to-student abuse, and it's measured if the student states that they're verbally or physically abused by their parents. So some of the summary statistics, I'd like to highlight that on average, the suicidal ideation of the students are around 9.9%, and parent-to-student abuse is around 7.4% in the data. We use event study method. So why do we use event study? When it comes to causal relation, one of the methods that comes to my mind, many people's mind, is perhaps the difference and difference method. But such as in this study setting, sometimes the interventions or the treatments change by time. Time varies across students, or they can repeat itself. So that's why we use the event study here. In this setting, the time variable is the year. As I said, the treatment is if student is abused by their parents. And in this setting, a student can be abused in different years. So it's not like a policy change in one specific year. We first use one-to-one propensity score matching across the students who are not abused and who are abused according to the first time that they're abused. That's to make treatment and control group distribution close to each other. And then we define the event period. So for those who are abused for 1 year, the year of abuse is the event period. If you look at the figure for student 1, that would be the blue area, which is the event period. And for those who are abused multiple times, we consider the time frame from the first to last period. So in blue lines, you see the event periods. In green, you see the pre-treatment periods. Just like in the difference and difference, we also assume for parallel trans assumption before the treatment, and then the post period will be in orange. So we use two-way fixed effect, where we control for individual and year fixed effects, but also for family and student characteristics such as income, number of friends, if they smoke or not. And then we include the leads and lags. So here lag, k is equal to 0, is the event period when the abuse happens, it's like time 0. And then we include the post time to see the following impact on following years. And then we include the pre-time, which helps us to see the parallel trans assumption. We do not include the year before the abuse appears. It's because it's omitted as it's the baseline for the comparison. So here are the results for the event studies method. So the first line, the lead shows us that there is no statistical significant difference between the treated and the control group, which is consistent with the parallel trans assumption before the treatment. Lag 0 is the event period that you will see in time. As you can see in the figure, -1 is omitted as that's the comparison. What this table shows us that the family abuse increases the suicidal ideation of a student by around 6% at the year of the abuse happens. But we do not see a statistically significant effect in the following years. And here we are comparing students who are abused 1 year, multiple years, or consecutive multiple years. We see that for those who are abused single year, the impact is about 5.6%, but it increased to 7.4% who are abused 2 or more years. It increases furthermore to 12.4% for those who are abused multiple consecutive years. And then if you look at the last column, it's 3 or more consecutive years, it jumps to 26.4%, which shows that the consecutiveness actually carries additional information about the severity of parental abuse. Here in this table, we're comparing the impact of family abuse and suicide, across the income groups. And you can see that as we move from the below 25th percentile to 19th percentile, the impact decreases. So for those students who are abused by their family, the impact is higher if they come from the lower income family groups. Finally, we compare students for those who cannot meet expectations with those who can, to see the family's pressure. So first column shows there is no statistically significant effect, those who can meet their parents' academic pressure. But for those who cannot meet their parents' academic expectation, the family abuse increases their suicidal ideation by around 8%. So to sum up, we find that parental abuse is associated with the increase in an adolescent's probability of suicidal ideation by an average approximately 6%, but that's in the year of the abuse happens. So we do not find discernible residual effects in the following years. And but we find multiple differences between being abused in 1 year and in multiple years, and especially if it is consecutive multiple years. We find that the impact of family abuse on suicidal ideation raises monotonically as their family income falls. And finally, parental abuse is associated with an 8% increase in suicidal ideation for adolescents who cannot meet their parents' academic expectation. So I would like to say that overall in this study, we try to look at the relationship the interaction of family abuse with the various groupings like the continuous years, the impact of multiple years, and income groups. And yet these are not exhaustive. So many things can affect the student or adolescent suicidal ideation. So our remark here is, final remark I would like to say, is that one should be very conscious about drawing final conclusion when it comes to adolescent suicidal ideation or mental health in general, as it can vary according to different determinants. Thank you very much.